Hey guys, less is more back with another video. Last week I wrote a couple quizzes for Zenith, and this is going to be the answer tutorial for one of them. So this is the second one. I'm going to do the answer tutorial for the third one later this evening. So yeah, this is just a brief 3-question quiz on imposition range construction blind versus blind single race pot. So we're just going to hop right into this and go over the questions one by one. So here's the first question. Single raise pot, blind versus blind. Hero is in position. Flop is queen 7-4, 2 spades. Villain checks. Hero bets 3 big blinds, half the pot in position. Villain calls, turns an offsuit queen, and villain donks 3 big blinds. And now we're in position with a decision. Now we have all these hands. So we need to figure out which hands belong in each category. So not within range, all this means is as played, this hand, one of these hands would not have gotten here in this line. Either like it would have 3-bet pre or it wouldn't have bet the flop for this size or something like that. So yeah, let's hop right into it. So the hand that's not within range is pocket 9. So note that these are outdated ranges used in this sim. This is one of the old blind versus blind sims, but it's fine for this purpose. So let's see. Yeah, so pocket 9s is the biggest pocket pair we have from pre-flop, so it's just a pure check back on the flop. This is just a hand that doesn't really need much protection, as opposed to the other pocket pairs. Like you'll see, like 8s with a spade is betting more often than 9s with a spade. So yeah, just less scared of overcards, more or less. So just something to consider. So 9s is not within range. Now we have queen 9 off, king 8 off, ace deuce off, and ace 6 off. So we look at the bet call line. So on this card, we can take a look at the turn report real quick. So the out of position player is donking most often when the top pair pairs. You'll notice there's even some donking on a jack, 10, and 9. Yeah, those are just cards that, and even the ace, you'll start to see a little bit of donking. Those are just cards that hit the small blind's calling range the hardest. If we look at the calling range, you'll see like there's lots of like this region, like ace jack, ace 10, king 10, king 9 with a spade, king 8 with a spade. Those sorts of hands where they check call, they often make a pair on the turn. Okay. So it goes check bet call, and a donk. Now let's start with the 2 ace high hands. So there's ace deuce off, heart diamond, and ace 6 off, heart diamond. So if we look at out of position's check call range on the flop, we can see that like let's see, there's going to be a decent amount of ace high with a spade, the ace 4 obviously, and then there's going to be like the double backdoor hands, like ace 6, and then, well, ace 6 and ace 5 are both gut shots, so those are just pure continues. 6-4 is a pair, but if we look at the call line and then we look at the fold range versus a bet, like these gut shots, like the a6, 8-5 with the diamonds are going to be pure folds. Not to mention some of these pocket sixes are going to fold versus a raise. So yeah, when we have 8 or a6, we just block a little bit more of the folding range if we raise. We don't have a spade, so if we look at the out of position donking range, we can see that like some of these ace highs with a spade are going to donk a little bit. So if we raise, a lot of those are going to fold. And when we have the heart and the diamonds, those are both going to be reasonable continues. But we have to think about, so like they're both going to be decent calls because we unblock so many bluffs, but now we just have to think about like which one makes for a better call as opposed to a raise. Like the ace deuce loses to some of these thin value bets, because like these ace high donks on the turn are like just thin protection bets. You can see even in the check bet call line on the flop, like these hands have over 50% equity. It's just like with a spade, these hands function a little bit better as a donk because like you just block so many continues and raises. I mean, just continues in general. Like you're just not going to get raised that much. So like ace deuce, when you face a donk, is going to get pretty hairy as a continue. It's just it's not a great hand. Whereas ace six, like you beat some of these protection bets. But you can like if you raise, you block a lot of the folding range. So ace deuce functions much better as a raise. Like you can see ace of hearts, deuce of diamonds functions just fine as a call. You can see the EV of a call is 0.04 bigs. So like both of these hands are going to be just fine as a call, but you want to compare the expectation of call versus a raise, right? So like if the expectation of raising is greater, you're going to want to do that. But yeah, the ace deuce just unblocks so much more of the folding range. It's just going to function better that way. But yeah, in general, the main thing you want to be able to spot is like these hands unblock a lot of like thin value. The main thing is that these hands unblock a lot of bluffs, right? Because they don't have a spade. But ace deuce unblocks more of the folding range. And ace six is a call. Now we have queen 9 off and king 8 off. So the king 8, what should be immediately obvious is that the 8 of diamonds is a pretty shit card to have. Like the same reason the 6 of diamonds is not a great card to have. And not to mention the king of spades blocks a lot of out of positions floats. So like if we look in the check bet call line, like a lot of these king highs with a spade are floating, right? So if we face a donk on the turn, if we have the king of spades, it's not going to be great. If we have a spade in general, it's not going to be great. So this is just especially with the 8 of diamonds. And then the queen 9, we can look at the queen x, like these higher queen x are going to be raising more often. I mean, you dominate more of the queen x, obviously, but if we look at the raise line, like out of position is going to be folding 10-9, Jack-9. Yeah, like even this 9-high flush draw. But yeah, we just block more of the folding range with the Queen-9. And with the higher Queen-X, we just block more continues. So like if we raise a hand like Queen-Jack or Queen-10, we block more of these folds. Here, I'll do it this way. We block more of these folds, and we unblock much more of this region. That continues. Hopefully that made some sense. Okay, so here's the second question. So same line until the turn. The turn is now the flush completing deuce, the villain checks, and now hero is in position facing a check instead of a donk this time. Now we'll start with the not within range. So on the flop, you should really, when you're betting in position, you should really be thinking about which hands get the most equity denied by being bet, because there are certain hands that perform much better as a check back, because they're just like, there's a lot of high card hands that have like backdoor draws that would like to see the next street, and if they get check raised, they just have to fold to a raise. Whereas they're often going to be the best hand, and they could have picked up equity to continue versus a bet on a later street. So the answer is King 10 of diamonds. We'll discuss this for a second. So if we look at the flop, we can see King 10 of diamonds is just a pure check back. But if you think about it, like King 10, you'll see King 10 of diamonds has like almost 42% equity. But if you bet and get raised, like these, like King 10 of diamonds doesn't end up in this line, but if you look at a hand like King 8 of diamonds, you'll see it's just a pure fold. It's like the king high with the backdoor draw is just not strong enough. But you could just check back and hit a king or a 10, or pick up a diamond, and on any diamond you can pretty much call any bet, given your draw equity to your pair and your flush draw. So it just performs much better as a check back. And when you get down to like these lower king highs, you'll see like these have much lower equity, and like you're just not getting as much equity denied by getting check raised. It's a similar thing. It's the similar concept when I discussed, betting a hand like ace king with a backdoor draw as opposed to like king 4 high, right, on like a middle and connected board single raise spot. Like the ace king with a backdoor draw would much rather just check back, whereas like the king 4 high would much rather bet with a backdoor draw, because they just don't get as much equity denied by getting check raised. And a hand like ace king high is often the best hand. So when you check back, you just have so many outs, and you can continue quite comfortably on any flush draw turn. So yeah, that's the hand that's not within range. So here's our betting range on the turn. We see we have ace queen off with a spade, 7-4 for the bottom two pair on the flop, the 7-6 with a spade, and the king 5 no spade. So we'll discuss the ace queen first. So you'll see ace queen with the spade is a small bet or check. Now we can, so to figure out why, you should look at the response ranges. So versus a big bet, you'll see out of position is like the only ace high out of position is continuing is with the ace of spades and all the ace high flush draws, or the ace high flushes, I mean. So when you have the ace of spades, when you have ace queen with the ace of spades, it's going to be much more difficult to get called by worse, especially if you bet big. So if you bet smaller, you can start to get floated by the ace highs with, you know, the lower kicker spade. But if you bet big, it's going to be much more difficult. So something to note. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So. Oh, yeah. Another point here with the ace. Let's see, the ace 4 and the ace 7. You'll see are starting to bet with the spades. Similar concept. Like if you get check raised with ace queen with the ace of spades, like you really have nothing to worry about. Whereas like if you have ace 7 or ace 4 and you get check raised, it's not so fantastic. So you're going to see those start to flip. Like a7, when you have the ace of spades, you're not going to get check raised nearly as often. And you block flushes, so you just get called by worse more often. Because I mean, ultimately these are like thin value bets, right? So yeah, so this is just going to go into the bet smaller check. Now look at the bottom two pairs. So the 7-4 is just a pure big bet, just unblocking the calling range. We unblock all the like loads of queen x, and all of the ace high flush draws, and these middling pairs that would call, especially with a spade. And like if we bet big, like we're starting to fold out some shit pairs like 7-6, 8-7, 5-4, 6-4. Yeah, so when we have 7-4, we just block the folding range, unblock the continuing range. Versus a big bet, just makes for a very good big bet. So just gonna put that in there. Now the king 5 and 7-6. So both of these hands will bet sometimes on the flop. The king 5, not so much without a spade, but 7-6 will do a decent amount of protection betting on the flop. I mean, this is just a value bet, but like on the turn, here we can look at this. So when you have the 6 of spades, you block some of the hands that would check raise. Like you block, you'll see out of position has like a decent number of flushes with a 6 in it, like the ace 6, jack 6, 10 6, 9 6, pretty decent number. So yeah, hand like 7-6 with a spade would just bet to check back the river. Let's see, low brick, check, and then 7-6 is just checking back. After you get called with the 7-6, you're not in fantastic shape, but you still beat all these ace high flush draws. This is sort of like a showdown value bluff, right? Like if you never make these thin value bets with a spade, out of position is going to have a much easier time continuing with these ace high flush draws. Yeah, so something to consider. Let's see, yeah, king 5. Yeah, so this is just a check back. So when you have the king of spades, so on this flush completing turn, this is a bit different because when you have the spade, you have a flush draw now. So like unblocking floats isn't so important. You'd rather just have the equity with the flush draw. So when you have the king five, you're just gonna continue betting with the spade. You'll see this is going to be a pretty common trend. Also notice with the king queen with the king of spades, you unblock the ace high flush draws when you have the king of spades, so you'd rather bet big with that hand. Not to mention the added extra equity with the king high flush draw. So it's gonna function differently than the ace queen with the ace of spades, just because you block so many worse continues when you bet big. So yeah. Let's see. So this is a check, and then better check. And then this is the last question. So this is the third question, the last question. Same line, hero bets pot in position on the turn, villain calls, and the river is an offsuit 5. So yeah, so 8-6 and 6-3 get there for the straight. And now we have to sort the hands in the order of the bet size preference, biggest to smallest. So we have king 9 of spades for the flush, ace 6 for the straight, ace 6 of diamonds for the straight, king 5 of spades, and ace 4 of spades. So this question is going to have a lot to do with how out of position is going to respond, right? I mean, that should be obvious, but if you have a strong flush, you're going to tend to bet smaller when the out of position player is going to raise horse flushes for you. So if you have a hand like king 5, right? We can see if we bet small, out of position is going to raise all these 10 high, 9 high, 6 high flushes for us, even the jack high flushes. They're just going to jam for us, right? So if we have a hand like king 5 of spades, you'll see this hand is mixing between a pot and a half pot bet. This hand unblocks a lot of the middling flushes that out of position would just jam themselves. So you might be tempted to think that this unblocks more of out of position flushes, so we should bet bigger, but they're just going to jam those flushes themselves, so it actually like works the opposite, right? So actually king 9 is going to size up a bit more. Like you'll see it's just like a pure pot bet, whereas king 5 is starting to mix between half pot and pot, just because they're getting jammed on with those flushes themselves. And you'll see like king 6 of spades is like actually starting to mix into the 2x pot size, as opposed to king 5, which is like mixing into the half pot size. So like king 6 just blocks so many more of the like the 9-6, 10-6, jack 6 that jams for you, whereas the king 5 unblocks those, right? So it's more just the combinatorics of the value jam range of out of position. There's just more of those flushes that would jam for you. And then see the ace 4. So the ace 4 is like almost a pure jam. So you'll notice if in position jams on the river here, out of position is calling with hands like pocket 3s with a spade, and these sets like pocket 5s, some straight blockers like pocket 6s, pocket threes, and then like the sets pocket sevens and a7 with a spade. But notice that pocket fours doesn't end up in this line at all. So when you have a hand like ace four spades, you don't block any of the calling range. So you could just jam yourself for value unblocking all of these calls, right? Because like king five of spades blocks some of the calling range. That is something I forgot to mention. So jamming is just even less attractive. Just not going to get called by worse as often. So yeah, when you have ace four, you might look and see, oh, I have, you know, I block some of the sets, but like sets don't really get here at all. Like they're almost a pure raise on the flop, and if not, they're probably, yeah, the rest is just pure raised on the turn. So you don't really block that. So yeah, you just unblock all those sets and pairs with a spade that calls. And then the ace-6 of diamonds, similar thing. It's not quite jamming. If you have a hand like ace-6 of spades, you block. So like if you pot or 2x pot it, right? You block sixes, and you block, let's see. Let's see. You block these pairs. Like you block these sets. Yeah, sixes with a spade. And then yeah, 8-7 with the 8 of spades. So those are going to be a pretty good portion of the calling range versus a 2x pot bet. So 8-6 of spades is not so fantastic as like a really big bet, whereas like 8-6 of diamonds unblocks more of those single pair calls. But like yeah, the 6 of spades blocks pocket sixes with a spade, and then the yeah, like some of the pocket eights with the spade are going to call a little bit, but not much. So yeah, that's really the idea there. So it should be ace 4, 8-6, king 5, blocking call. So king 5, remember, unblocking calls, or blocking the set calls, and then unblocking the worst flushes that raise for you. And then yeah, king 9, blocking some of those 9 high flushes that would just jam for you. So let's see. Nice, 100%. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions on this. Some of these ideas are a tad complex, so feel free to shoot me some questions in the Discord. Thanks for watching.